Hello and welcome. Kerry here from Healing Humanity, the Power of a Proper Human Diet. And today I'm thankful, grateful, blessed to welcome Adam from Carnivore today, my friend Gig, Dr. Nelson, Caleb from Caleb's Carnivore Quest, and Dante and Katie Ferrigno from Ferrigno Freedom. Thank you guys so much for joining. There's links in the description below for everyone's YouTube channel. I got to add Caleb. It's Caleb at Carnivore Quest, Caleb's Carnivore Quest. So we are here tonight to do some giveaways, to answer any questions you guys have. So if you have a carnivore question, please post it. But let's throw up a giveaway here real quick as we're getting started. Why don't we start with a Healing Humanity shirt? So if you have a question, please use hashtag ribeye with your question. And in a couple of minutes, we will do a drawing for a shirt, and then we'll give something else away after that. But in order to win, you have to use hashtag ribeye, and you also have to subscribe to each of the speakers that you see here on the screen. You just click on the link in the description, go to Dante's channel, subscribe, go to Dr. Nelson, subscribe, go to Adam, subscribe, and so on. And we will randomly pick hashtag ribeye in just a couple minutes, so someone will win one of those shirts. And let's see, Adam, what else am I missing? I got to find this thing here.
I think you covered it all. First of all, welcome Gig and Caleb. I haven't had a chance to opportunity to meet you guys yet, so thanks for being here. And Dante and Katie, awesome seeing you guys here. And obviously the great and the wonderful, astounding, amazing Dr. Nelson.
Have you been practicing that?
I
Check
have.
it in the mail.
Didn't work.
My water in the other.
Want me to get it?
Check.
Yeah.
All right. So, quick announcement before we jump into your questions. We have a big meetup coming up really soon. It's in, let me see, I got a little picture for it here. If you want to join us, it's kind of last minute, but there's still tickets left, limited availability. March 8th, Austin, Texas. We've got the Texas boys, Adam, Laura Knight, Dr. Kiltz, Nia from Nia's Way, Pastor Jimmy, and Annette. Emma's coming with two. She's going to be sharing her story. So we're sharing inspiring carnivore stories. There's a brisket lunch included. If you're interested in joining us there, you better make your move soon. It's coming up quick. healinghumanity.movie/events. healinghumanity.movie/events. And let's see what questions we have here.
You ask him if
We've got a question from Macwog, wondering what temperature and how long do you cook in an air fryer for the ribeye before you sear it? And feel free, Gig and Caleb and anyone, Dante, Katie, Dr. Nelson. We'll try to just switch it up. If you feel like you got a good answer, feel free to just jump in. When I heard air fry, I'm thinking Dante right away on this, but I don't know if this is something else you're asking. Wondering what temperature and how long do you cook in an air fryer for the ribeye before you sear it?
Well, I mean, usually it sears in the air fryer, but I've been using the Dreo Chef Maker for a while now, and it kind of does all the timing on that for me, including the searing. And the whole overall process takes about an hour when it's a good thick steak, but you know, that's long for an air fryer. But the way that it does it is really slow and low, and it comes out fantastic every time. As far as what I used to do in the past, though, it was just a matter of cooking it at a high enough temperature for it to sear and flipping it about halfway through, because it was, you know, it just didn't cook as good on the other side. But
you just need to.
I don't know. It seemed to sear as long as the temperature was hot enough. 400 degrees is about the minimum I would go when I'm cooking with an air fryer to try to get a good sear like that. And how long depends on how thick it is, how much meat it is. So, I mean, but I would say at least 13 minutes, if not, 20 minutes. And it also depends on if it's frozen or not when you're starting. So there's a lot of factors in there.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dante. Gig, are you cooking in an air fryer at all?
Actually, I'm not. I have an air fryer, but I love smoking my meat so much that I don't use the air fryer at all, and end up just putting the meat in the smoker and doing it that way.
Absolutely. I'm mostly smoking, but Dante sold me on the air fryer. It took me way too long, but man, being able to cook a steak just like from I never would have thought it would turn out so good. And we use our air fryer every single day now. I always tell people, if you're thinking about doing carnivore, get an air fryer. Bacon too is great in the air fryer. So, all right. Next question we have is from Tammy Day. What experience do you all have with people healing severe long-term rheumatoid arthritis? I don't know if anyone here, Gig's shaking his head. Do you have any
Yeah.
experience with it?
Yes, definitely. Being 71 or almost 71 years old and an ex athlete, I've been dealing with rheumatoid arthritis in my neck, in my shoulders, and my wrists, my knuckles, my hips. Not too much in my knees, and in my ankles and toes. And I always thought it was part of just getting old. And I always thought that, well, all the years of competition plus age, but being 4 years strict carnivore, all of it has gone away. I I never expected that. And I mean, I'm tight in the shoulders because when you stop competing, things tighten up a little bit and you have to stretch. But my arthritis is gone.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Is
Thank you,
that
Gig.
rheumatoid arthritis though, or is that
Oh,
osteoarthritis?
excuse me. Thank you, Dante, for clarifying. That is not rheumatoid arthritis. That is osteoarthritis. Good point. I didn't even think about that. Good point. I don't have rheumatoid arthritis, so I apologize to the viewer.
Well, I was going to say the experience that I have is experience of somebody else's experience, and that's Michaela Peterson, who had juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. And she was the reason that I found out about the lion diet, which is the version of carnivore that's strictly ruminant meat, water, and salt. And one of the reasons why she chose the lion diet, it was the one version of carnivore that worked for her with rheumatoid arthritis. That's why I was going to ask you if your experience was lion diet, if you had dealt with rheumatoid like that. But for most autoimmune disorders, the lion diet seems to be the answer for people who are having a problem specifically in the area of autoimmune, and rheumatoid arthritis would fall into that category. So I would definitely look into lion diet if you're looking for healing in that area.
Good stuff. Thank you, Dante. Thank you, Gig. Hey, Caleb, welcome. I think this is one of your first live streams. It's great to have you on here. Caleb has a wonderful YouTube channel. I did just add it to the description. So if you guys want to click over, subscribe, Caleb's Carnivore Quest. I think this next question might be a good one that Caleb might be able to answer. Carnivore newbie here. What is the best menu for my first week, month, etc. on carnivore?
I mean, honestly, I like bacon. Bacon's a good one for me, at least. Any fatty cuts of beef that you like, because beef is going to be very nutrient dense. It's going to be good. It's going to be satiating. So, any kind of fatty beef that you like, whether it's chuck roast or ribeyes or something in that wheelhouse, then I'd probably stock up on those for a bit.
Good stuff. Thank you, Caleb. Powerball too. Get the Powerball. That got me through my first week. Here's a question from John. This might be a good one for Dr. Nelson. What if both my trig and LDL levels are pretty high with being hypertension? Can starting carnivore be okay? Everyone close to me are against carnivore.
Go ahead and start carnivore. That is okay. The triglycerides being high is basically triglycerides and the hypertension, both probably a result of hyperinsulinemia. Hope you have had or you have asked for fasting insulin from your doctor. Many doctors are reluctant to order it because, number one, most don't understand what the consequences of that is. And some others are concerned, well, insurance is not going to cover it. Well, okay. So if the insurance doesn't cover it and the patient is asking for it, they're willing to pay for it, right? But high LDL levels by itself
Okay.
are not associated with a major risk of cardiovascular disease. High LDL cholesterol, along with high triglycerides, low HDL, hypertension, it's a group of things that can end up in a cardiovascular event, and that is not good. Uh, I'm not concerned about just the LDL. You need to fix everything else, basically. And on my personal experience with this, I have reversed hypertension, diabetes, triglycerides were always either a little bit high or moderately high. I haven't had it in 500, but uh, I had one time 300 and some. And when I had the high triglycerides, the low HDL, the LDL was a little bit high, but I also had hypertension. I was 120 pounds more than I am now. I had a stroke. It was the perfect storm. Uh, so, yes, going in on the carnivore diet for probably 99% of the people is going to lower your triglycerides and decrease your high blood pressure.
Thank you, Dr. Nelson. Hey, here's some awesome news. Our friend Peter, Papa Carnivore, just became a grandpa about an hour ago to a little baby girl, my first.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Awesome.
Yeah, he was down in Tampa.
We got new grandpa there. We got Dr. Kiltz is a new grandpa. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
We
10
got
days
Dr.
ago.
Nelson is a happy grandpa. All right. Thank you, Papa Carnivore. Carnivorous Dude Ed. How do give you all a Nobel Prize? Oh, that's nice. Nancy, I'm still waiting for my sweatshirt, Carrie. How do you send the mail? Yes, they come in the mail. Brian, Carrie, I've lost 140 pounds. 14 10-pound bowling balls since last April and feel amazing. Thanks to your videos and motivation. Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations, Brian. Jeez, 140 pounds.
And start or continue sharing the stories.
Yeah, share your story. Here's a question. Slurto1, is it possible that too much salt can cause headaches?
I guess if it's possible if you're sodium sensitive and you're not metabolically healthy. When I wasn't definitely metabolically healthy, I could feel headaches when I had salty stuff. Now I cannot live without having salt throughout the day a lot. So things do change. Some people are sensitive to sodium, people with congestive heart failure. Sometimes edema gets worse, but most of the time that's when you're not eating the right diet or you're metabolically sick. So yes, it's possible. I don't know the status of where you are in your journey, so couldn't comment.
It's also hard to define what too much is. You know, what's too much salt? Because if people saw how much salt I consume in a day, they would think, oh, that's too much. But it's normal. It's actually less than it was in the past. So, I mean, but it depends on how you define what too much is. I think if you're consuming a pound of salt a day, that might be too much. But, you know, it's really hard to define exactly what that is.
Yeah, I used to get the...
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oops.
The doctors in the whole food meat-based community that I've been following, they're all consistent when they say salt to taste, and that's basically what I do.
Yeah.
Now, when a doctor tells you limit your salt, usually they're using a 2,000 milligram a day or 2 gram a day limit.
I know I'm getting more than
that. If you listen to Dr. Westman, I think he talks about 5 to 7 grams a day, which is basically a teaspoon of salt has about 2,000 milligrams of sodium. That means 2 to 3 teaspoons of salt might be an average for most people when they're metabolically healthy. Otherwise, sometimes they might be too sensitive to that amount of sodium.
All right, good stuff. I was just gonna say on the salt thing, I always do it to taste too, and I used to get ridiculed on YouTube, similar to Dante. Like, that's a crazy amount of salt you're using, but it was always to taste. The thing I found out that was weird, I had my blood work done, and I was actually low on sodium, despite the crazy amount of salt I was putting in there. And I think it was because I was drinking too much water, which was maybe diluting some of it. So lots of variables, I guess, to think about there. All right, next question we have Target Prime Rib just got a new CGM, but my sugars are being chaotic, rising more and more, and this is after I took insulin.
Yours, babe.
I don't know about that one.
Double check it with a regular finger stick monitor. Number one, make sure that, because CGMs are not, they're very convenient because they give you patterns, but you might be 15, 20 points. And I'm wearing a CGM I have for the past 3 years at least.
I know what a CGM is.
And sometimes continuous glucose monitor. So sometimes my CGM and when I do my finger stick, it could be 15 points or 20 points above the CGM, but it can also be below the CGM. So unfortunately, they're not the most accurate thing. They're better to give you the patterns of your blood sugar. The difference is because the CGM is measuring glucose in the intracellular space, and when you prick your fingers, that's whole blood, and there's going to be always a difference. That rarely do they have the same number. I've had it a few times like that, but that may not be because it's really chaotic. But when you're having a lot of variability in your blood sugar, that's because you're still dealing with some insulin resistance, and you're not there yet.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Nelson. Just a reminder, if you have a question for anyone here, please post it with hashtag ribeye. And we're giving away a Healing Humanity t-shirt. We're going to be giving away a membership to our Healing Humanity membership site. You can also get 50% off our membership site right now if you want. There's a promo code in the description below. Let's see. The next question we have is... Oh, we got a super chat, $5 from Target Prime Rib. Our stories are important. Absolutely. Thank you for the super chat, Target Prime Rib. Appreciate that. Barb says, I could swear my cellulite has improved after a couple of months on the carnivore diet. Is this my imagination or am I turning into a beach babe?
Total beach babe.
It is more than likely possible that it's just improving.
All right. PR64. I recently had my labs come back. I've been doing keto for 6 months. My HDL is 124, triglycerides 51, LDL 89. I thought my LDL would be elevated, but my HDL went through the roof. Is this normal?
No, that's not normal. That's great.
That's abnormally good.
Yeah.
Those are great numbers. I mean,
wow.
HDL is more important and a predictor than LDL is. I don't call them bad and good anymore. They are both transporting molecules that transport cholesterol and fat back and forth. But an HDL of 124, that's great. And then your triglycerides are lower than your HDL. That is a great ratio. You have, listen, we can all die of something at some point tomorrow from heart attack, strokes. They can always happen. What we talk about is reducing risk, right? So I don't think you could improve your odds better. Those are great numbers. And not everybody gets LDLs. The LDL goes high maybe in about 20% of people. But great numbers.
All right. Good stuff. Here's one maybe for Caleb or Gig. What is the best way to deal with family and friends working against me on Carnivore?
Well, I'm somewhat lucky in that I have my social circle. They're not into carnivore, but there's a lot of cultural. Some of my friends, based on their culture and their ancestry, uh, are doing a high carb diet, and all I can do is quietly lead by example, but they support me. They kid around with me a lot. And other than that, my family, my son is carnivore. My daughter eats whole food. She tends to be almost keto, but my brother, my sister, my mom, no, they don't. They wouldn't dare. I think that I don't think my mom understands. She's 89. Excuse me. She's 98 years old, and so. But for all intents and purposes, I get that support. But not everyone is going to do it. And one of the things that I just want to mention is, and Carrie, I mentioned this to you in my interview with you. Personally, I have found when I look around at my fellow carnivores that are fairly strict, I find that people that want to lose weight more or less might be the outliers, and the people that have seen their metabolic, their mortality flash in front of their eyes, those are the ones that really tend to stick with it.
Yeah.
That's my own personal opinion that I've seen, in the research that I've done. I don't know if you all would agree with that, but yeah.
Yeah, well, it helps to have that that drive behind it, that reason to stay no when you're. I think what he means when he says your family and friends going against you on this is not so much that they're maybe verbally going against you, although they probably are doing that too. It's mostly that they're eating what they're eating around you all the time, and the things that you don't want to eat are available, and that makes it really hard. So yeah, it's difficult, but if you have the reason to push through it, then it's easier to do that. If it's just losing weight, sometimes that's not enough because you feel like it's a goal I've never been able to reach that goal before, so why do I think I'm going to do it now? Well, all I can say is it works. If you stick with it, it's going to work. So you got to keep that in your mind, is that this is going to work. This is not going to leave me hanging, because I see it work when people stick with it. When they don't stick with it, when they stick with it just a little bit and then they quit once a day, then they wonder why it doesn't work, because their body's never getting into ketosis long enough to start burning off its own fat. So, I mean, you can see people trying and not succeeding, but I haven't seen anybody that actually. Well, I mean, it's so hard to judge who's actually doing it right or who's not. But most of the time, when people are sticking with it, it seems to work without fail, because your body just has to go into ketosis when it's not getting enough sugar on the inside, on the intake.
I'm curious to hear Caleb answer this question, because everybody else here is in their 40s to 70s.
Yeah.
So your friends at school, do they know the pattern of eating that you follow? And how about your family? What do they say?
So I'm homeschooled, so I don't have the friends at school, but
Okay.
I do have some friends. I have a couple of friends, and none of them eat the way I eat. They all know that I eat carnivore. My family
Okay.
knows I eat carnivore. Uh, my family is supportive of me doing carnivore. My mom and dad are doing carnivore with me, and so is actually my younger brother Isaac. He's trying it out for like I think he's gonna do 100 days, and then he's gonna go back to whatever. But he's at least trying it.
Oh,
I
trust
think
me, after
if
100 days, he's not going back.
that would be awesome. That would be great. But I think if everyone around you is against you in a way, you know, by eating other food around you, I think you need to take your focus off of that. You know, your main goal is not to make sure everyone else is eating good. You need to be making sure that you're eating good and that you're making sure that you're doing the things you need to do. And it's not about what everyone else is doing. It's, you know, you can only control what you're going to do. So you might as well focus on that.
Good
So
stuff.
that's my perspective.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Good.
Wisdom from Caleb. Thank you, Caleb. All right. The next question we have, half bubble off Plum. How do you tighten up loose skin?
Cold therapy.
Cold plunge.
Ice baths do tighten the skin. That's why it's used for the face and stuff for people with wrinkles and whatnot, because it tightens the facial muscles and skin, and it tightens the skin up. So that's one of the things I would do. I've been told fasting tightens the skin. I've seen a couple of videos on that of like before and afters, like fasting a couple days a week, and you know, over the course of a few months, skin will tighten up more. Those are the things I've heard of and seen. I've obviously never tried it. I've had no need to, but those are a couple of the things I've heard of.
Gary, you don't need us anymore. Just keep inviting.
We're gonna make Caleb the host now. I'm gonna go fire up the air fryer. No, good stuff, Caleb. Caleb's done a cold plunge too. That's on his YouTube channel. That was pretty awesome, inspiring. Yeah, I've heard the same thing. You get into fasting, you do autophagy, that can tighten up skin. If you have a whole bunch of skin, no matter what you do, you might just end up needing to get surgery. I know if anyone is in that position, our friend Laura Spath has done some really awesome videos, like very showing the whole process, what it involved and everything. Both her and her husband had the skin removal surgery, but I think if you're patient too, fasting and stuff like that, it can happen over time, but I think it takes a long time.
Yeah.
Coach Lisa Picard has some pictures, and she used to have a lot of loose skin and no surgery. It's pretty much gone.
Nice. Coach Lisa, shout out. All right, we've got Ellen says, it makes me so happy seeing Katie joining you, Dante. I love the result of the Tampa meetup had on her. Your input is welcomed and appreciated, Katie.
Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. It was pretty awesome, Katie, seeing you and Dante on the video right after the meetup, and how fired up you are about all this stuff now. It's pretty cool. We had a
She's
lot of
still
fun hanging out
nervous
with-
about being in front of folks, but she's pushing herself outside of her comfort zone lately. I think her exploits in Taekwondo have really helped her in that area too. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Don't mess. Nobody mess with Katie. She's got the moves. All right. Ryan said, Carrie, when you had a mini stroke, what symptoms were you experiencing? I stood up and I was dizzy and tingling in my finger, and my lip started drooping. And I couldn't like find my words to say what was going on. So then my wife called 911 and I went to the hospital, and that was the mini stroke. Luckily, it was a mini stroke, which is just temporary as opposed to a major stroke. But I still do have the weird lip thing. In fact, people comment on it sometimes, like Instagram pictures or whatever. They're like, dude, did you have a stroke or something? Your lips like drooping on the one side. And I'm like, yeah, I did. thanks for pointing it out over and over again. But that's the only thing that lingered afterwards. The tingling in the fingers, all of that went away. That was before I started carnivore. But all right, next question. Not a question, but thank you. I was in a bad place before starting keto and carnivore. Dr. Barry's videos were the second to help me, but Dante was the first. Bless you all. Scott. I don't know how many times
Scott.
I don't know how many times I've heard that one, Dante. That's my story too. Dr. Barry's videos were the second to help me, but Dante's video was the first to help me. I've heard that quite a few times.
Hey, man, I don't mind being the evangelist to bring people in to hear the truth.
All right. Another question for Dante. Mr. Ferrigno, I was also in Tampa and got sick too. Still a bit out of it, but better. My question is, how soon after your illness can I get back to workouts?
I may not be the smartest one to ask that. I probably get back too quick every time, but I think I really waited until I felt like when I woke up in the morning, I'm ready for being out in the cold, that I don't feel like I'm still sick or it's lingering in that way. And that's when I decided I was ready to get back out there. I mean, if it feels like it's really lingering hard, I would wait a little longer, especially if it's got a deep cough to it or something like that. That's probably how I would take it easy, before you get back. If you're doing especially workouts outside in the morning, like I'm talking about, where you're getting out in the cold weather and stuff like that. But if you're talking about maybe just doing some exercise, I didn't mind starting doing a little push-ups and stuff like that earlier on, just so I can keep my strength up. Because when you're sick, you really can go downhill on your exercise very quickly. A couple of weeks of not getting exercise can make a huge difference. So if you're just talking about keeping it up a little bit, inside the house, and you're not trying to push it too hard, you're just keeping your muscles going, there's nothing wrong with that. But just be careful about getting out in the elements when you're still struggling with something where you were sick.
All right, good stuff. Hey, we got 360 people on right now. That's pretty awesome. Thank you guys all for joining us tonight.
Yeah.
We're going to let's give away one of these shirts for #ribeye. We're going to do a drawing here right now. Let me share my screen. Adam, do we have a drum roll?
I don't know. Get it.
Here we go. Hey, official drum roll. Nice. The winner is Healing Humanity shirt, Sharon Esterson. Sharon M. Esterson, congratulations. Adam, how can Sharon claim her shirt?
Well, Sharon, you can go to healinghumanity.movie/giveaway and fill out the form there, and we will send you your prize right away. Congratulations.
Can you do the prices right, Adam?
Maybe next time. Come on down.
Nice. Awesome. Congratulations. Next up, we'll give away, this is a $20 Redmond's portable salt shaker keychain deal.
Oh, cool.
#salt. Use #salt with your best question, and we'll do that drawing in a couple of minutes. Let me change this thing here to #salt. There we go. All right, the next question we have is Super Chat. Blue Diamond Bill, $10 Super Chat. Can't wait for the Austin meetup next weekend. Bringing my almost but not quite carnivore wife. Oh, well, she'll be fully carnivore by the time the meetup's over. We promise. Do we have some sort of guarantee like that, Adam, or no?
Yes, we do. Or your money back. No, I'm kidding.
Right, money back guarantee. Thank you, Blue Diamond Bill, for coming out. Make sure you come say hi. We look forward to meeting you out there in Austin. It's going to be one heck of a meetup. There's some really, really inspiring stories there, including our friends, the Texas boys, husband and wife, family of 8. All of them are doing carnivore, and they're going to be sharing their story. Dr. Kiltz is going to be there. Nia's Way. It's going to be a lot of fun. So thank you for that. If anyone else wants to join the meetup, just go to healinghumanity.movie/events. It's Austin, and then there's going to be one in Tennessee, and we have one in Washington, and there's a couple more that are getting added there. So if you want to see if there's one in your area, healinghumanity.movie/events. Thank you for that super chat, Bill. Every penny we get from those goes towards the documentary. Speaking of #salt, we have a question. Redmond Salt, will that take care of the lack of electrolytes too?
For the most part, it's going to. If you're low in magnesium or potassium, you might need a little bit more than just the salt. But for the most part, I know when I first started doing Lion Diet, I only had salt. I didn't have any other electrolytes, and I never had any problems. Now I started exercising a good bit more after that, and I started adding electrolytes just as a prophylaxis for running out of electrolytes because I was exercising so much. But I don't know that I would be depleted without them. I've just enjoyed having the extra. So, but I found that salt alone did great, even when I was early on, still doing some exercise and things, and I wasn't adding any extra. I had the blood work done, and it didn't seem to matter one way or the other whether or not I added it. I just find that I like it. I like adding the Redmond Relight to my water in the morning. Instead of having coffee, I like to have hot water with a little Relight in it, and I love the way it tastes. So it works out good.
Good stuff. Thank you, Dante. Just a quick reminder, because I think I forgot to mention it, for the Redmond Salt keychain, it's hashtag salt. And make sure you click on the description and follow each one of the speakers, Adam, Gig, Dr. Nelson, Caleb, Dante, and Katie. There's a link to each of their YouTube channels below. It takes like 2 seconds. You just follow them and then post your question with hashtag salt. All right, the next question we have is a little update from Target Prime Rib. He said, "You were right, Dr. Nelson. My CGM says 244 and my finger stick says 226, so it is off." All right. Question from Zippy. Raw milk, does it cause weight gain?
It definitely can. I guess it really just depends on how much you're drinking of it.
Yeah, well, if it's
raw
got
milk has a lot
lactose
of
in
fat.
it, if it's got lactose in it, it can cause weight gain.
Yep.
I mean, lactose is sugar, and the more you get, the more you're going to gain.
So within the carnivore community, this is always a hot topic, right? Is a carnivore? Well, it comes from an animal. But remember that milk is a growth food to bring a very little baby into being a grown adult human, right? And we are the only animal that continues to drink milk after we grow up. So that's on the one side of the argument. If it doesn't cause any problems for you, I don't see it's okay to drink milk. But very often people have problems with milk because you lose the lactase, and then you become intolerant to some degree to the milk. Some people have little allergies. You don't have to have a severe allergy, but you're intolerant to it. So if you don't have a problem, and then yeah, a lot of people that stall, it is probably because they're having milk, cheese, dairy, nuts, which is not a carnivore food, but if you're trying to stay very low keto, a lot of people have nuts, and they can cause stalls and sensitivity problems.
Yeah. I didn't do any of the milk or cheese. I did it on keto and it stalled me, so I've been avoiding that on carnivore. My brother-in-law was over and he always gives me a hard time about carnivore, and he's like, "You can't drink milk?" And I'm like, "I could, I just choose not to because milk is for babies." So he didn't really like that comment, but it's true based on what Dr. Nelson just said. So, all
and
right.
if you look at the content of milk, by the way, breast milk, let's talk about breast milk, which is very similar to cows and goats' milk, closer to goats. You have about twice the amount of sugars than fat, and that's about 2 times the amount of protein. So milk has the highest of the 3 macros. It's sugar, then fat, then protein. When you're grown up, you don't need that much sugar. But why is there sugar? Lactose is a sugar. It's glucose and galactose, because you need it for growth. You don't need to continue growing when you're an adult, and sometimes we continue growing beyond what we want.
Normal.
Right. The wrong way. Kathleen is asking, can I go off my daily alpurinol without gout coming back on carnivore? I can maybe take this one as a first shot. I did, so I can. I'm an anecdote, but I was diagnosed with gout. I had suffered with that for 18 months before carnivore, and carnivore was the only thing that fixed it. I was on alpurinol. I was on, what's the other one? Colchicine. I had injections in my foot. The only thing that fixed it for me was carnivore. Now, I have heard people say that they went carnivore and they had like a flare up of their gout, but usually it's like one big flare up and then it's gone forever. At least that's what I've heard anecdotally. I don't know if Dr. Nelson or anyone else has thoughts on gout.
So if you're on allopurinol and you have been doing carnivore, first of all, who needs to make that decision with you is your provider, right? But if I had a patient that comes to me and says, Doc, I haven't had a gout attack in a year or 2 years, I've had them, well, then why continue on this medication? That's probably going to give you side effects and so on. So I think it will be reasonable if you have not had an attack, a gouty attack, which is very painful, to taper down. Don't stop all of a sudden, taper it down. The usual dose of allopurinol is between 100 and 300 a day. You can taper it down with the help of your provider. And it is true that some people on carnivore may have a transient increase of uric acid, and therefore the risk of having a gouty attack. But if you've been doing carnivore for at least 6 months, your uric acid levels probably stabilize for the rest of the time that you're going to be doing carnivore, which to me is going to be the rest of my life.
Thank you, Dr. Nelson. Tisha has a question. Does eating boiled eggs make anyone else feel sad and depressed? Is it just in my head? Caleb, you got any side effects from eating boiled eggs?
Nah, I just don't like them.
Well, study came out just last month. I had the link copy somewhere, but if you look for it, you probably find that eggs basically are good for you. They decrease all-cause mortality. I mean, completely positive. I haven't even read the study completely, but they're good for you. And hey, over 40 years, I've seen this pendulum going back and forth. Oh, anyways, my grandfather had a dozen eggs every day. He was 89 when he passed. I think he did pretty good.
I personally have found that I just don't care for the albumin or egg whites that are in eggs. So I end up just eating the yolks, and I do that in the form of omelets. And I'll do like an 8 or 10 egg yolk omelet. And I just like the consistency, the flavor. I understand it's much more nutrient dense. Other than protein, there's not a lot of nutrients in the white part of an egg. But I eat them like they're going I'm going crazy. But based on the question, does eating eggs make anyone else feel sad or depressed? I can say right now in today's economy, just the egg by itself is going to depress people.
Before you even cook it or eat it.
Before you even cook it, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'd say, listen, if any food makes you feel sad or depressed, don't eat it, period. Just don't have it.
Yeah.
Eliminate it. It's not, you've discovered it's not good for you. Don't have it.
Well, I was going to recommend the same thing about going for the yolks only, because I found that the yolks were much better for me too. And also, if I eat vegetarian fed eggs, I notice a difference too. It'll actually upset my stomach, and it'll give me a flush feeling. So when I eat the eggs from the chickens that I raise in my own backyard, or if I buy pasture raised eggs, I don't get that response. So, if you're sensitive to foods like I am, and you might be based on the fact that I don't even think I've had to where they make me feel depressed, but I know that they can upset my digestion, which can be depressing. So I guess that would make you in that sensitive area. You might want to try the type of eggs is important, and then also whether or not you have it with the white might make a big difference.
All right. M. Smith has a question. Before starting carnivore, I had a CT of my abdomen and it showed pancreatic atrophy. My doctor never heard of that, and I am not diabetic. Any thought about this finding?
Pancreatic atrophy.
So this is not reported a lot, and I don't understand why. But radiologists don't report fatty infiltration of the pancreas as much as they report fatty infiltration of the liver. But it happens. I mean, and I don't know if the atrophy was secondary to previous fatty infiltration of the pancreas. The most important question here will be, is it functioning okay? Okay, and the pancreas secretes insulin, secretes glucagon, and pancreatic enzymes that help in digestion. So if that's working okay, then I wouldn't worry too much about it. There's the only medication I know that might help at some point with this, and this is all anecdotal and no studies. It's carnivore. So I would review the digestive process and the enzymes and see if you're diabetic or not diabetic. If it's there, it's there. Cut the carbohydrates. That's the mostly cost for that.
Christopher Mayers gifted 5 Homestead How memberships. Thank you so much for that, Christopher. Really appreciate it. Smoky Bear Lover. Carrie, any more meetups in Wisconsin? I live across the state on the Minnesota border. We don't have any right now. We've had a couple at our movie theater, but kind of like Katie, Jen's getting more excited about this after joining the last meetup. And Jen was talking about, maybe I'll just host a keto carnivore meetup at the movie theater. So she's strongly considering doing that again. We've done 2 or 3, and it's been pretty fun. So considering we live in such a small town, didn't think we'd have a good turnout. So we don't have anything official yet, but if Jen comes up with something here, we'll list it on that events page. healinghumanity.movie/events. Question, Cranky Carnivore Cutler. Does the gentleman Gig on the top right have a YouTube channel?
I have a YouTube channel, but it's not for carnivore, and I haven't used it in quite a few years. Unfortunately, no, I don't have one. But I can be reached on Instagram at thegig7.
And I just I just added that to Gig. Facebook search for Gregory Goldbarth and the Gig 7. I added that to the description as well, so you can click on the description to follow Gig over there. Oh, here's a question for Caleb. Since you're doing it with your younger brother, Carnivore, what advice would you have for a 10 and a 13-year-old?
Keep your fats up so don't get constipated. I mean, it's kind of the same. There's not a ton of differences. Figure out what they like, what they don't like. Isaac, my younger brother, has been pretty chill with it. He's kind of good with whatever. And I would say don't be too strict with him. If he wants, a jalapeno, like a slice of jalapeno on one of his meals, I think, that'd be all right, unless he wants to go strict. But I would say, make sure you keep the fat up and don't give him too much cheese.
Good stuff. Thanks, Caleb. Hey, we got Bill Knott has entered the building. Hey, Bill.
Hello, Bill.
Hey, Bill.
Bill was just going on an adventure yesterday with his drone, getting some footage for the YouTube channel. So if you guys aren't watching Bill on YouTube, you're missing out. Go check out Bill. Hi, Carrie. I'm from the Philippines. I'm on my 28th day carnivore. Started low carb almost 2 years. That's why I'm already fat adapted. Wish I can make it until 90 days. Thank you. Oh, awesome. You got it. You can do 90 days. You're already fat adapted. You did keto, 28 days in carnivore. You got this. My advice would be just do it. Do it. Do it strict for 90 days. I talk to a lot of people that do carnivore and then they do well for 5 days and then they treat themselves on the 6th day and they knock themselves out of ketosis and then they have sugar cravings and then it becomes very hard to continue. So if you're really strict, I think it's easier, at least for while you're getting into it. Question from Nancy. Has anyone addressed how different body types are affected by diet, as in an endomorph trying to maintain or gain weight on carnivore?
It's harder. if you're whichever one is the big body type, that's the one I certainly am. I know it's harder, but I mean you just got to be more strict. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I studied in anatomy in college, mesomorph, ectomorph, and endomorph, the three body types. And I lucked out genetically at mesomorph, but genetics plays a huge role in metabolic functionality. But yeah, I agree with you, Dante. Ectomorphs have the toughest time, but they make the best cyclists and volleyball players. And one of the gymnastics events called Pummel Horse, the thin, tall, lanky actually can swing the Pummel Horse better than all the other body types. So there are some advantages.
Good stuff. Thank you. Cheryl says, I'm 67, started working into carnivore March 2024, have a weight stall since midsummer, never had blood work. What do I need to do, such as blood work, and figure out the reason for the stall?
So you might want to go to the doctor and ask for. Now, not every doctor is going to do a full metabolic health evaluation. So you might want to grab a book like Dr. Berry's. I should ask for a commission. Dr. Berry's book. I forget what the name is, but on labs. Basically, you need to check your thyroid. You need to see if you're anemic, which I doubt. If you're doing carnivore, but you haven't been doing it for too long, and check your adrenal. That's the book.
Common Sense Labs.
Check your adrenal. Basically, all your hormones, including insulin and the whole 9 yards, and make sure that you don't have any of those problems. Now, our bodies are resistant to weight loss. Okay, we're not meant to be skinny. Okay, now if we compare to our ancestors thousands of years ago, they worked a lot more than we do today, right? They had to be running and hunting, and anyways, so we have a genetic predisposition, some more than others, to hang on to the weight, and there's going to be a stall at some point. I have been basically on a stall for months and months, maybe a year now, but I'm not gonna, what is my alternative? There are many things you can do, like maybe you're having dairy, milk, maybe you're having a little nuts. Those things will stall you, and you might need to shift. I think Caleb can even give this answer. You might need to shift your fat and proteins, right? A little bit more fat, less protein, and increase activity. I don't like to use the word calories, but at the end of the day, it is a matter of energy. And sometimes you need to decrease the amount of energy that you're consuming and increase the amount of energy you're spending.
Thank you, Dr. Nelson. Our friend Blue Diamond Bill has another question. What are your thoughts on Aldi Braunschweiger as a legitimate source of organ meats? I don't know if anyone's familiar with that. I haven't tried it. I don't know.
I don't know what that is. Is that a brand from Aldi's or?
I don't know. The only time I ever heard Braunschweiger is when Arnold Schwarzenegger used it to refer to his own name in The Last Action Hero.
Underrated movie, by the way.
Yes, that was a good one.
It's a German sausage, is what Google says Braunschweiger is. It's typically made from pork, offal, and liver. So there you go.
Sounds like it'd be good if you can eat pork.
Right. Maybe we'll see if maybe there's some more comments in the chat and people that have specific experience with that one. I don't think any of us do here. Joe Dean, is it common to experience weak, shaky legs in the beginning of carnivore, 3 weeks in?
I mean, I kind of had that. I definitely didn't feel extremely energetic and strong when I started. I was kind of just like chilling on the couch for the first month of carnivore. So that's kind of what I did. So I can see that. I definitely was feeling weaker than I am now when I started carnivore. It wasn't immediate.
Did you have to up your salt intake after you first started? A lot of times I see that's what whenever people report weaknesses that they're not getting as much salt as they should. And as soon as they tweak that, most of the time it solves the problem.
Yeah, I drink salt now. I drink my own electrolytes. So, yeah, I enjoy the taste now, which is weird because when I started drinking it, it was kind of gross. But now
I know. It's amazing how much you can grow to be attached to it. I call it my salt soda when I put it with club soda. It's delicious.
For sure.
All right. We're going to be doing the drawing in just a minute for the Redmond's Salt Shaker. Speaking of salt, any more questions, post them quick. Hashtag salt with your best question. And make sure to follow everyone here on the screen, link in the description. Simply Shannon, how much exercise do you do in a day or per week?
As much as you can is the bottom line, because I know sometimes people don't have a lot of time in their day. So I mean, if you can allot an hour for yourself to get enough exercise, that's usually tough for some people. But I mean, even if it's 30 minutes, it's better than nothing. This whole notion of putting all the blame on not exercising has some people thinking that they don't need to exercise. Well, you do still need to move. There's no doubt about it. And you need to move against resistance that's stronger than you normally move against. That's why I wear the added weight of a vest when I go walking, because that extra resistance makes me stronger to be able to deal with things in the future. And as you get older, you obviously going to get weaker. If you're not pushing against that, then it's going to happen faster. So ultimately that's just, you got to fit it in there. Now, some people go 3 hours a day because they're fitness gurus or nuts or whatever you want to call them. They're just into it. If you've got the time and you want to do that, that's fine. But I don't think that's actually necessary. I keep it to an hour a day myself.
Yeah. And I'm at the age where I'm doing everything I can, and it's a inevitable, not welcomed situation, but sarcopenia can set in as you age. Well, it's going to set in. So I spend 5 days a week doing a stage 2 indoor cycling. This time of year, I'll end up going out and cycling outdoors, but I'll do it 5 days a week for an hour, which is about 25 miles. And then after I'm done, I'll do a CrossFit workout. And it just depends on the day, whether it's upper body, lower body. And uh, like everyone has already mentioned, you got to find something that you can fit into your schedule. And I try to put at this point in my life, I try to put more time and effort into the pull-ups, the dips, the handstand push-ups, the inverted crunches, and I do a lot of bench work and a lot of leg work. And my goal is to be around for my grandkids and see them grow up, and to slow the inevitable sarcopenia setting in. So far, I've been successful, but I have lost a tremendous amount of strength. But I look at it this way: if I haven't been doing this, I would even be weaker than where I'm at now. And Dr. Vasquez, I'm sure you would probably agree with that, right?
Yeah, yeah, and it's more
Yeah.
difficult to put on muscles after
It is.
when we get to not too far behind you. When we get to our age, I should say.
Good stuff. Thank you, Gig. All right. Oh, we got to give away this this salt shaker. Hashtag salt. So let's do that. Here we go. Winner of a Redmond's travel size salt shaker, Don Schonger. Congratulations, Don. You've won a Redmond's travel size salt shaker. Where can Don claim his prize?
Well, Don, you can go to healinghumanity.movie/giveaway, fill out the form, and we will send you your salt shaker right away. Congratulations.
All right. What should we give away next? Let's see what we got here. We're going to give away 30-day free membership to healinghumanity.life. Hashtag life. So please post your best question with hashtag life, and make sure to follow each one of these individuals you see on the screen. There's a link in the description below for each of their channels. Subscribe to their channel. Go watch their content. Give them some love. Hashtag life. And if you don't win this, you can currently get 50% off your membership. There's a promo code in the description. It's the membership site has been going awesome. We've having Zoom calls. Dante's on one of our calls. We have a hangout with Dante on Sunday. Last night we had Dr. Georgia Eid on as one of our doctor experts, and that was something. She gave us a master class last night. So if you're interested in learning more, there's a link in the description below for that. So post your best question with hashtag life. And the next question is from CJ. I am just starting carnivore, and I've been in a chair with a lot of pain and a lot of swelling. How soon do you think I should start working out and getting exercise? Should I start with water aerobics?
I want to take the first shot at answering this. I don't know, from what you're explaining, don't know how difficult it is for you and all that. I lost over 100 pounds without doing any exercise, because when I started, I was on my way to wheelchair. I needed to walk with a cane. I was falling just because I bent a couple of times at work, and I just couldn't exercise. I had had a stroke several years before. Long story, but most of it was done without the exercise. Now, that is not to say that it's not important. If you can exercise, then do as much as you can, okay? But if getting up from a sitting position is the only thing you can do, then do that 2, 3, 4, 5 times and keep working on increasing the amount. If you cannot go and run and walk 2 miles, but it's difficult for you to get up and walk to the bedroom or to the kitchen, just work on doing that a few more times and continue to increase gradually. Yes, exercise helps. Yes, exercise is important, but you do what you can. And sometimes the only exercise you do is when you go to the toilet and you sit down and you have to get up. Well, if you're able to do that and repeat it 3 to 5 times, you just exercise. You might have done a high intensity exercise there because you had not been able to do that before, right? So everything needs to be customized to what you can do. But yeah, do whatever you can. You don't have to think of it as, oh, I want to go to the gym and lift weights and run on the treadmill, and you're not at that level. That's fine. Just at your own level, on your own pace, start increasing the amount. So you can do that anytime.
Yeah, and if I could piggyback off of off of Dr. CJ, I remember listening to both Dr. Barry and Dr. Chafee, and they both said the same thing, and that is that uh, most people that are on strict carnivore, they'll just naturally start, losing, a lot of adipose tissue, a lot of fat naturally. And at some point in your journey, you're just going to wake up one day, and because of your metabolic condition improving, you're just going to have a natural, you're just going to feel so good that you'll have that natural motivation just to maybe, if you're walking from one room to another, maybe you want to walk from one room to another and then back again. And that will motivate you, and you'll continue to improve on your journey to the point where at some point you'll want to step outside and maybe walk a little bit, and it'll just keep improving and improving, and your motivation will be improving, and before you know it, you're at a level that that you never thought you could achieve.
Good stuff. I'll triple that. I agree with everything those two said. I just wanted to add that I was misguided to feel like the only way I would ever lose my weight was exercising. I always thought I had to go to the gym, I had to run, I had to jog, and I didn't lose. Just like Dr. Nelson said, none of the weight I lost was from exercise. It was all from nutrition. And once I fixed my metabolic health and started feeling better, then I started exercising just because I had excess energy and I felt good. I don't feel like I could have exercised before. So hopefully that helps, CJ. Just don't want you to feel like you need to, if part of this is losing weight, I think you mentioned in another comment, a lot of that is nutrition. But if you can exercise, great. It's great for you. Okay, the next question we have is from Dina. Hi from New Zealand. Great to have support, as not much here. I have bad clearing throat thing, all tests normal. I very rarely have colds. Do you think carnivore will help?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And giving up the dairy is probably one of the most important factors with phlegm and things like that. At least it was for me.
Good stuff. All right. Here's another similar. Deborah, am I blowing carnivore by eating yogurt?
If it has sugar in it, I'm not going to say you're not necessarily blowing it. It depends upon what your status quo was before you started. But anything that is considered a carbohydrate is going to be converted to glucose. And so you want to try to reduce that as much as possible.
Yeah, and even like plain Greek yogurt still has 6 grams of carbohydrates per serving, and the
Right.
serving is very small. So if it's enough, when you say you're blowing it, it's probably you're referring to weight loss concerns. And if you're trying to lose weight, you could put yourself over your minimum amount of carbohydrates that it takes for you to stay in ketosis. And ketosis is kind of your goal if your weight loss is important for you.
And I hope you're not using a low fat yogurt.
Yeah, go for full fat.
Right. GoldenEye says, how important is intermittent fasting with carnivore?
I guess
I
it
don't
really
know that
depends
it's
on what
required.
your goal is. Yeah, like Dante said, it's not necessarily required. It's important to some people, I guess, and maybe not to others. It's not really important to me. How about you guys?
It's got several benefits. If you find the benefits to be valuable, then I would use them. Then I would incorporate it. And the benefits could be things like just learning to appreciate the food that you have more. You learning to appreciate not needing something. When you're doing a longer term fast. When you say intermittent, it could be a couple of days. Still, it just depends on how long you're talking about. But anytime that you're restricting your intake, it's a discipline type of situation where you're learning to appreciate not going with something. So there's a benefit there. There's benefits for skin tightening. Like if you have a lot of loose skin, there can be some benefits there. So you might want to do that. You might want to do it several times a week, or 2 or 3 days a week that you want to do intermittent fasting if you're concerned about that. But not everybody's concerned about those same things. So that's where I would say, the importance level is going to be dependent on what your goals are and what your needs are.
It's not mandatory at all, but many people doing this way of eating end up doing some sort of time restriction, at least on when they eat, because they are no longer as hungry as they used to be, right? And so it's not a requirement, but it is helpful in many, many metabolic processes. If you're looking for improvement on a very long list of things that can happen with hyperinsulinemia, it's going to help reduce your insulin levels and reduce or eliminate many of these problems that we refer as chronic diseases. When they're not really chronic, you can get rid of them.
Personally speaking, at least from my standpoint, one thing that I have found over the years is I tend to lean on a 1 meal a day or OMAD. And it's not because I'm trying to intermittently fast, but I eat a very high fat, moderate protein, strict carnivore diet. And from what I've learned, the high fat allows you to stabilize all your hormones. And there's 2 specific hormones that's related to hunger and satiety, ghrelin and leptin. And when you're eating a high-fat diet and you're eating to when you are satiated, you may not be hungry again for an extended period of time because your hormones are working the way they should work, and they're going to let you know when you're hungry again, truly hungry. And for me, it's about 18 to 24 hours later when I'm hungry again. So I'm naturally intermittently fasting without trying, and it seems to work. It works for me. I don't force it. I just eat when I'm hungry, and I eat until I'm satiated.
Good stuff. Thank you. I just wanted to say real quick, thank you again for everyone joining us here, Gig and Caleb, Dante and Katie. We got some new folks on tonight. You guys are welcome to leave at any time if you have to. We normally go for about until 8 o'clock, so about 45 more minutes. But Caleb, Dante, Katie, anyone, if you got to jump off early, no worries. If you're just jumping on now, #life, post your best question. And we're giving away a 1-month free membership to Healing Humanity membership site. And we got a quick question for Dante here. Do you have a limit you try to avoid surpassing when it comes to heart rate? If yes, what is that top heart rate?
I haven't really kept up with my heart rate being at a certain level or anything that's been a concern. So I haven't noticed anything that was a concern. So I haven't kept up with it. If you're talking about when exercising. Mostly, I'm just concerned with how fast I'm walking. I want to try to improve my speed more than anything. And I'm glad I got to answer that question because I saw that came through on my channel side a little while ago. Because Katie and I were going to duck out a little bit early here because she's got her sister visiting here in town, but she wanted to come and join us tonight and be a part of this because, like you said, after that meetup at Dr. Kiltz's, it's just been it's been like lit a fire under Katie to understand what I've been doing here now for 3.5 years isn't just about talking about diet. It's about people. It's about people getting healthy together and finding out about community and the things that we're doing that are changing people's lives. So I'm just thankful we got to be here with you guys tonight for a little while.
Absolutely. We're so thankful to have you both, Dante and Katie. And like I said, you guys always have an open invite. Anytime, you're welcome back.
All right. Yeah, hopefully again next week.
Yeah, let's do it. Have a great night.
All right.
Good
See you
night.
guys.
Thanks for coming, guys.
All right. The next question we have, Christine, do only super chats get answered? No, we do prioritize them, but I would say probably 95% of the questions we've been answering are not super chat. So we try to get to all of the questions. Sometimes it gets a little tricky. But let's see. The next one we have is CJ. I started my 90-day carnivore challenge in the morning. What are some of the positive things seen for diabetic neuropathy and inflammation?
Well, I can say based on people that I have interviewed that had diabetic neuropathy that it actually improved, got better, and inflammation across the board with almost everyone that I've interviewed has reduced or completely gone away. I don't know if that's kind of what you would see clinically, Dr. Nelson.
Well, I can tell you the answer is yes, yes, and yes. I personally have diabetic neuropathy, has improved a lot. Again, I had 4 different reasons for numbness and tingling. That was just one of them, but it has improved. Any neurological condition improves, especially if your ketones remain high. We know that for epilepsy, this was used 100 years and before that. You heard last night that was in the Healing Humanity website or platform, but Dr. E talking about mental health illnesses and anything brain related improves. So inflammation, I used to have chronic pain and I couldn't really take much medication except anti-inflammatories because if you don't want to go to the doctor and have him on hydrocodone, number one, right? Or muscle relaxants, which are not narcotics but mess up with your mind and you're not clear. You wouldn't want me to be on muscle relaxants all the time. But my chronic pain went away with carnivore. Plantar fasciitis, I had 35 years. That's definitely inflammation. Gone. It was. I don't even know when it was gone because it just stopped hurting, and sometimes you don't realize. Well, wait a second. I haven't had this again. But yeah, they both. And that is the anecdotes and the people and you guys who have interviewed a lot of people know this. I mean, almost someone was on the chat, right? Ramos, I think you skipped the comment. Carrie, she has rheumatoid arthritis and she stopped her medication. I don't know if it was a couple of months into carnivore or a couple of months ago, but she's no longer taking medication and she has no pain. I mean, it's amazing.
It really is. I was a type 2 diabetic. I I had insulin resistance, hyperinsulinemia, and I had just a little bit of tingling in my feet, and all of that's gone. All of that's gone. Um, if I'm wearing tight shoes or not tight shoes, but if I lace my shoes up too tight and I'm wearing them all day long, by the end of the day, I might feel a little bit of the tingling. But for all intents and purposes, when my A1C consistently came down to like 5.2, 5.1, and all of these symptoms I kissed them goodbye. And so, yes, absolutely. I piggyback off of Dr. Vasquez on that.
Question from Jerry. Do you all eat any dairy? And if so, have you encountered any issues?
It's
No,
an
I
easy
don't.
one. That's an easy one for me. Absolutely not. And I do have issues. I get acne everywhere. When I was trying to lose weight, it actually stalled my weight loss as well. So, not sure about you guys.
Yeah,
Caleb,
I
you
don't.
do any dairy?
Yeah, I eat dairy sometimes right now. I tried to run an experiment for 30 days, no dairy, to see how it affects my weight and my skin and whatnot. I got sick halfway through that, so I was like, I lost, 5 pounds being sick for a couple of days because I didn't really eat anything. So I was like, this would be unfair to give to everyone and be like, hey, look, I lost, 5, 6, 7, 8 pounds over 30 days of not eating dairy. Like, yeah, 5 of which was because you were sick. So I kind of had to restart that. And I'm like, well, if I restart that, I might as well dairy again and see how that goes for my skin. So pretty soon here, I'm going to be cutting out dairy again for 30 days, taking some before and after pictures and seeing how that goes. And hopefully I can make a video on that. But yeah, I personally think that for most people, dairy's probably not worth it for like the vast majority. And if it is worth it in smaller amounts than you might think, because I get addicted to dairy. If I eat it, I want to eat a lot of it. So I kind of, if I have it, I try my best to not eat a ton of it.
Good
And
stuff.
if you don't think cheese can be addictive, there are some morphine-like substances in
Yes.
cheese.
Yep.
Casomorphine. Uh, it's in the word, right? It attaches to the same receptors that morphine would or narcotics do in your brain. So it can be addictive. I had to give it up. I love cheese too much. So if I can have an ounce of cheese every day, and I could probably have an ounce of cheese, but then I end up having 4, 5, 6 ounces of cheese when I do eat it. So uh, for the past 2, 3 weeks, I haven't had much, except yesterday I took some cheese from my daughter. She had in the refrigerator.
All right, here's a good question. We have a lot of new members that watch. What would you suggest when starting carnivore? Slowly or just jump in?
I jumped straight in. I literally loaded up. I think it was ice cream the night before I started carnivore because I was like, I'm never going to eat it again. But I literally ate the last of my pint of ice cream. And then the next day, cut cold turkey, switched over to carnivore because that's kind of my personality. I have an all in or all out kind of personality. I didn't wean myself off into carnivore. I would think most people probably should, though. It's kind of intense.
You are so much like me. On my last day, before I started carnivore, I had I ate 5 quarts of ice cream in one sitting, and that was my my rite of passage. That I knew that the next day that was it, and I remember the next day I ended up with a I don't know if it's called a sugar headache or a glucose headache that lasted for about 30 hours.
Mm.
But that was almost 4.5 years ago, and I have never fallen off the wagon. But to answer the question, um, I also have a compulsive obsessive personality. I'm not the type to put my big toe in and then put my leg in and then get under the water. I dove in head first and never looked back. But that's me again. I don't recommend that for everybody.
Good stuff. All right, question from Lori. Is keto flu a Herx reaction to gut die-off? Will we experience a Herx reaction each time there is a gut die-off?
If I'm not mistaken, isn't a Herx reaction due to antibiotics killing off bacteria, and then there's some sort of overgrowth because of that? I don't know. I'd have to lean on Dr. Nelson for that one if you are familiar with that area.
Well, the keto flu is mostly, you can call it carbohydrate withdrawal and electrolyte imbalances, because what happens is a very low carbohydrate diet and carnivore diets they induce diuresis. All of a sudden, your kidneys are told, listen, you can let go of some of this fluid. because otherwise we're retaining fluid. And there is a lot of shifting of fluid in the body. Uh, and water doesn't move inside your body by itself. It always drags sodium, potassium, magnesium, chloride with it. Okay. So the keto fluid is mostly uh, a result of that diuresis that is induced. And some people tolerate very well. I've never had the keto flu, but my advice on the question before, which ties in with this one, is do it slow. Get used to, if you've never done a low carbohydrate diet, then that's where you probably need to start. After doing a low carbohydrate diet, I then went into full carnivore, and a lot of people just jump right into it. You might not have a bad experience, but you could, and I know Kerry can attest to that, at least through what happened with Jan, right? But you jumped into it and you didn't have any ill effects, right?
Right. Yeah. I had done keto on and off, so I think maybe it was a little easier for me jumping into it, but I'm kind of like Caleb and Gig where I'm just like all or nothing. I can't really start slow.
And the more metabolically sick you are, then the more you should slide slowly into it, because if you have if you're very metabolically sick and you're most likely on multiple medications, you don't want to jump right into it, uh, because there could be problems.
Yeah, I didn't have the keto flu. I planned ahead, so I expected it. I just had a little bit of diarrhea, and I had researched it before I started, and I know that a lot of people will experience that when you're on a high carb diet. Your liver just doesn't need to produce the bile at the rate that it would if you were on a high fat diet. And I knew that my liver had to recognize it would take about a week or however long it took, which was about a week. That and I knew it would go away. So the good news is the liver recognizes it and it starts to produce more bile. The gallbladder stores any bile that isn't used, and within I think 4 or 5 days, the diarrhea completely went away.
All right, good stuff. The next question we have is from Michelle. Can you still eat too much on carnivore and not lose weight or maintain it?
That's a little bit confusing to me as far as what you're actually asking. Can you eat too much on carnivore? I guess possibly you could, depending on what your goal is. And then I also read it as, can you eat as much as you want and still lose weight and maintain it? And I would say the answer to that question is yes, because I do that. I lost all the weight, got back down to my high school weight, and I'm maintaining it and have done so for 2 years. And I eat as much as I want. So I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that.
I think carnivore is health and weight optimization diet. Some people that are underweight can use it to gain weight, and people who are overweight, especially when there's excess pounds, are going to lose weight. Now, could there be some people that gain weight when they don't want to gain weight? Yeah, you know. So, for the most part, just eat until you're full and stop, and don't eat again until you're hungry. Might not work for a few people, and in that case, you might have to look at how much you're eating and how much you're moving, and eliminate some things. We've talked about things that you might be eating or not doing. Uh, Another thing we don't mention a lot. We talk about a lot about diet, but sleep is very important. Okay, extremely important. And when you don't eat, when you don't sleep well for many years, are used to sleeping just a few hours and don't even have a regular schedule. That can affect your body as well. And you have to fix that before your body can work the way it's supposed to work. Uh, Stress, things like grounding and vitamin D and the sunlight and all these things that some people talk peripherally about it are very, very important. And sometimes you have to fix those things to be able to break a stall and continue to lose weight or gain weight. Some people, it's the minority, but some people use it to gain weight.
All right, good stuff. All right, we got to do a drawing. Healing Humanity shirt. Let's see here. #life. Share my screen here.
You mean membership?
Membership. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
what
he
did I
did.
say?
He did. He did.
Okay.
Membership. 30-day membership to healinghumanity.life. The winner is CJ Conley. Congratulations, CJ. You had some good questions. You deserve it. So 30-day free membership, healinghumanity.life. How does CJ claim his prize, Adam?
Well, Carrie, CJ can go to healinghumanity.movie/giveaway, fill out the form there, and we will get your coupon code for your free month membership to healinghumanity.life to you right away. Congratulations.
Congratulations. And why don't we do one more of those? We got another half hour here. We're going to do one more 30-day free membership to healinghumanity.life. So any additional questions you have, please post them with #life. And be sure to follow everyone you see here on the screen. There's a link in the description for each of their YouTube pages. All right. The next question we have is, here's a good one. I just started Carnivore, trying to make it as affordable as possible. My initial default reaction would be like, just eat a bunch of eggs, but that's not good advice right now today. So ground beef.
If you calculate it, it's still very affordable. If you don't look at $5 or more a dozen, and if you think 2 eggs might be $1.50 or $1, even at today's prices.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, when you're on Carnivore, you're not shopping through the traditional aisles. You're usually going straight back to the whole food section, the meat section, and your grocery bill may be a wash, or maybe it might be slightly less because you're avoiding all the junk food and all the carbs. So I'm not sure. Have any of you found that to be true as
Oh,
well?
definitely. My
Yeah.
grocery bill for me personally is well below 50% of what it used to be.
Same.
And if you can do ground beef and eggs and maybe a little bit of bacon here and there, I mean, you can make it really affordable. I just really wouldn't recommend stealing steaks from the grocery to make things cheaper.
Brisket is very affordable. You
Yeah.
just, and you can either cut it in pieces and do those pieces one at a time, or do the whole thing and cut it and store it. But lamb and goat are a lot cheaper than a steak, beef. So there are many options that are fairly affordable. Most ground beef, it's probably what, $3 to $4 a pound. So you can make it affordable. I mean, you don't have to be eating. I would like to eat, you know, Wagyu ribeye steak every day, but I cannot afford that either.
All right. Sorry. Jen just brought me a Power Bowl.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
I'm currently doing lion diet, but I think maybe for the night I'm going to switch it up a little bit. So
Not tonight.
Not
Right?
tonight.
not
And
tonight.
you probably don't have even $5 in that Powerball, most likely.
Right? Yeah, probably 2 eggs, a bunch of they're mostly ground beef in here and a little bit of bacon.
Nice.
Ground beef has been, I do a lot of YouTube videos and people are always like, "Oh, Mr. Steak Guy," but when I have a steak, I do a video because it's fun. It's not that fun to do a video cooking ground beef over and over again, but the truth is I'm 710 days carnivore now, and most of that time was eating ground beef or burger patties, not steaks. And I really enjoy ground beef. It took me a while, but I eat it every day. I like cooking a bunch of it up and eating it cold out of the refrigerator the next day. It's something that has really grown on me on carnivore. Question for Caleb. Do you ever think about doing lives or interviews with carnivores as young as you, since there are many?
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely something I would love to do. I just gotta find them. I gotta find the people. But I'm totally down with doing live streams with anybody, or being on someone else's live stream. That sounds fun. I enjoy doing it. It's pretty cool. And it'd be cool to have other people around my age and hear other people's perspectives who are closer to my age, and see what they think about carnivore and how they've handled their struggles compared to the way I've handled my struggles as someone who is a lot younger. So yeah, I'm totally cool with doing all of that. I would love to do that.
I'm sure my girls would love to chat anytime. Some of them are a little bit nervous about doing live streams, but I bet you they'd be more open. Maybe that'd be pretty cool, Caleb, if you had a whole group. There's my daughters, and then there's was it Sophia? She was a young carnivore who's doing some YouTube stuff. I don't know if she still is. There's a couple that Emma's talking to too. There's actually a young man who's a triplet that lives in Alaska that's doing carnivore. So they're out there. It's probably just a matter of someone doing it. Like, hey, here's Caleb. He's doing a live stream for teens, and then maybe someone will come out of the woodwork. Do you have any interviews coming up, Caleb, on like other channels?
I'm gonna be on Dr. Kiltz's channel, I believe, on the 14th next month. So I'll be on at 3 a.m. So
That's nothing 3 a.m. for a carnivore, right? You could do it.
I don't know. My sleep has gotten longer since being on carnivore. I've had to sleep more than I usually do. And that could also be because my sleep schedule is all kinds of weird. I mean, I was going to bed at 12 to 2 a.m. when we were doing Black Friday sales for Dad's company. So that we weeks I was going to bed, at minimum 12. So I go to bed between 11 p.m. and 12. So my sleep schedule is kind of jacked up, but that's it's only a matter of time before I can get that hammered out.
Right.
Where do you live, Caleb?
Caldwell, Idaho.
Idaho. Okay.
So
Well, Caleb, don't be surprised if this 70-year-old guy subscribes to your channel.
all right.
I definitely am going to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I was looking to see his channel so I can subscribe to it.
Thank you.
Now an hour and 45 minutes we've been here. I have 3 new subscribers, by the way.
Nice.
I'm
Nice.
excellent.
Caleb, how many subscribers do you have on your channel? I got to check real quick.
I think last time I checked, it was 350.
Nice.
That was
All
today.
right.
I find it way more nerve-wracking to make the videos than to do live streams.
Really?
I don't know why, but like doing videos makes it so much more.
Right. You're at 359 right now. So shout out again to everyone here. Adam, Carnivore Today, Gig, Dr. Nelson, Caleb. Go check them out. Go subscribe to their channels. Dante and Katie, I have a link for their channel in the description also.
I have to my voice, edit the video, I had to like go over and nitpick it. And I'm kind of like, in some ways, I'm kind of a perfectionist. You know, I am my biggest critic. So I'm kind of like, you know, that could be better. That could be better. And then, you know, what kind of videos do people want to watch? And then I'm like, what kind of videos do I want to put out? Whereas this is just kind of like, you know, there's the chat. The chat provides most of the questions and whatnot. And, you know, you answer the questions based on, you know, your experiences and whatnot, and you have a good time. I find that way easier.
Yeah. Good stuff. All right, we got a question from One Deaf Pure. Is Lion Diet just supposed to be used to figure out problem foods, then add in foods to test, or can it be used as a healing factor for the long term?
Yes and yes. It
Yep.
really just depends what you're trying to heal. Some people have to do that for long term, like Michaela Peterson, for instance, or I think her name's Fuller now, but
Yeah.
she's still on Lion Diet.
Isn't Dr. Chafee also been on Lion Diet?
Basically.
Yeah, and Dante's pretty much
Yeah.
Lion as well for a long time. Yeah, so you can do either. There's some people that do it for a while and see what they can add back in, and then they say, "Oh my goodness, I feel so incredible. Why bother messing with it if I feel so good?"
Or
All right.
trying to add something back in and you realize this is not good for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mama Homesteady, how do I get better sleep at night? I wake up, I can't go back to sleep for a few hours. I do a minute amount of veggies here and there.
Probably need a little bit more information to see if you're having things like caffeine, if you're having too much stress during the day, if you too many devices on before you go to bed, when you're actually going to bed. There's a lot of factors at play there. But I know, Carrie, you had some issues with waking up in the middle of the night.
Yeah, I had it going on for a while, and then I went down. While I would wake up, I had nothing to do. I was just sitting there, wide awake. So I did some research, and one thing I learned that was really interesting is that since the start of time, humans have been biphasic sleepers. It's only modern times that we set this weird regimen that we got to go work in an office for X amount of hours and then sleep for X amount of hours. So I found that kind of reassuring, although it was a little annoying. And the thing that I have found is, this is my theory, and I'm just an idiot, right? I'm not a doctor. I don't know. This is just my theory, but I feel like I have excess energy on Carnivore. And
Yes.
when I have that excess energy, I wake up at 3 in the morning. When I fall back asleep, like 2 hours later, that second sleep, I call it, it's the most incredible sleep in the world. So I kind of embraced it. What I have found is lately, the last month or two, the girls and I have been working out regularly at the gym. And we went one time where we went for like a week straight working out, like at 10:30 at night. Like after this live stream, we'd go at like 11 o'clock at night sometimes. And I did that every day. And long story short, the one day that I missed it was the one day that I woke up at 3 in the morning. All of the other days when I exercised, I slept throughout the night. So I feel like for me, it's an energy kind of thing. And I have excess energy on Carnivore. And sorry, I'm rambling, but the last thing I'll say is it makes sense that we have excess energy on Carnivore, because before this, my body was spending a lot of energy trying to unnecessarily digest all of this crazy food I was putting in every 2 hours as I was hungrier and hungrier. All of this roughage and fiber and things that were really not intended to eat. I mean, that takes a big toll on your energy. So I think a lot of us eating that way, we fall asleep and we sleep throughout the night, but we have more energy on Carnivore. So that's my thought on it. All right, let's see. I'm going to try to go a little quicker because I'm hoping we can answer most of these questions. There's quite a few questions here. So let's see the next one here. Gattaca, how can I find a cardiologist that is carnivore friendly in the New York City, Long Island? Can't seem to find any. That's a tough one.
Yeah, I don't know of any directories. Do you, Dr. Nelson?
No, but Dr. Ovadia sees patients in many states. So you can go to his website and see if he can see you if he's in New York. I mean, if you're in New York. We're in Long Island, by the way. My residency was in Glen Cove, Long Island. and my oldest was born there.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, small
Dr.
world.
Dr. Tro, he's not a cardiologist, but he does metabolic health evaluations and weight loss, and he is in New York as well.
All right. Yeah, I think Dr. Ovedia's I Fixed Hearts is his website, and he does do telehealth, so you could try it. You could try that. Here's a question. Help with low energy, please. I use electrolytes and extra potassium, but having low energy.
I'll take a stab at that one real quick. Electrolytes and energy, they're definitely related, and you can get those out of balance if you're taking extra potassium, for instance, and maybe you don't need that. So I would suggest potentially trying an experiment with removing that and just having a normal level of electrolytes, or maybe even eliminating those for a short time. You can also get blood work to kind of see where you're at and see if you need to actually have extra of anything. I personally don't do any electrolytes. I don't do extra salt and anything like that. But when I did add salt, I didn't clinically get this verified with blood work, but I felt like it was putting my potassium and magnesium out of balance and was actually causing leg cramps and nausea for me. So I eliminated the salt and everything went back in balance for me. So I don't know if that helps you or not, but does anyone else have anything on that?
No, good stuff. Josephine, Caleb, does Caleb have a YouTube channel? I'd like my son to see from someone around his age doing it. Caleb's Carnivore Quest. There's a link in the description right now. Go click on it. Go subscribe. Absolutely.
I
He's got
just
some good videos
subscribed
over
to
there.
it.
Nice. Okay. Carrie, what do you all drink? Crazy, but I don't like water. Okay. Only even do is good for you. Are the water flavor zero sugar good for you? Are they bad? I drink water, and I'm sorry, that's funny when you say I don't like water. I feel that's like saying like I don't like sunshine or something. It's like we gotta have water. We gotta drink water. I drink regular water. I drink carbonated water. So like there's carbonated water that's good. I don't do any of the stuff with the sweeteners, the zero sugar, the fake sugar. I don't mess with any of that. I find that perpetuates my cravings for real sugar, even if I'm having the fake sugars or the zero sugar stuff. So I would suggest maybe trying some of the carbonated water. A lot of people like that, and that's a little bit different from the regular water. I don't know. Does anyone else have any other thoughts on that one?
Yeah. I drink a carbonated water called Saratoga, Peregrino, and one of my favorites is a flavored water with nothing else in it called Bubbly, Bubly. And I like the strawberry and cherry. It's just a hint, and there's nothing else in it. But those are my favorite carbonated waters. And then it's like a reverse osmosis filtration system. So I also drink a lot of filtered water. I try not to drink bottled water anymore. Dr. Berry made me very aware of PBAs and plastics and everything. So, yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Barry's done some good videos on that topic. It's crazy that even as screwed up as our food system is, we as humans we've also managed to screw up our water system as well. It's like it's water. How can we possibly mess this up? And we've really messed it up quite a bit actually. One death here was carnivore for 102 days, lion for 22 days. Currently no relief for my severe OCD. Any advice? I really feel like I'm doing something wrong. Any advice? Well, one advice I'd give you, and I learned this from Dr. Georgia Eid yesterday, is maybe tweak the dial a little bit. She was talking about the dial of protein and fat. And some people have too much protein and not enough fat. And when you switch that around and you get more fat and less protein, it can increase your ketones and your level of therapeutic ketosis that you're in. So I think her advice would probably be, are you measuring your ketones, like with the Keto Mojo? That would be something I would suggest. Try doing that and see where your ketones are and what you can do to adjust to get in more of a therapeutic range.
Yeah, by far, that was the biggest thing I think that she addressed with most people that were still experiencing any sort of mental issues like OCD or ADHD or depression, anxiety. Carrie was the whole fat thing. Make sure that you're consuming way more fat than protein.
Yeah, that was she's so good. Like I've heard some of this stuff before, but the way she laid it out, I'm like, that makes sense. The biggest thing is measure. Get the tool, get the Keto Mojo, and you can measure. You can know how you're in it. What are you thinking, Dr. Nelson?
You can, you have to always consider seeing a provider that deals with these things. It's difficult to find one that is gonna give you their blessing on the diet and ketogenic diet and core carnivore. And I don't know if Dr. Edith sees patients in the traditional sense, but if you find a psychiatrist, a nurse practitioner, someone who you can work with, because that this might not be the only answer, but certainly trying to maximize. It used to be that for epilepsy, you had to continue to crank up the fat and lower the protein until you got to the point that it was controlled. And I think it's the same with all the brain disorders. Some people need stronger medicine than others, right? So you may have to go to a 4-to-1, which meaning 4 times the weight of fat to lean meat, right? To protein. So we're talking, you get up to the 90% of your calories from fat. Sometimes you have to do that to push the ketones. Remember also that fasting causes your ketones to go up, causes your insulin to go down. But until your insulin is not coming down, you will never make ketones either. You have to have your, doesn't have to be at normal levels, but your insulin needs to be coming down, your sugars need to be getting better. Then you'll make some ketones.
All right, Terry Sue has a question about gas. Why do hard-boiled eggs cause gas, and other ways of cooking them does it? Well, for me anyway. I don't
have
think
zero
Caleb has this
experience with
answer.
that.
Caleb doesn't like eggs.
Any of
I don't.
you happen to have that problem?
I don't eat hard-boiled eggs. I don't like
Mhm.
them.
Valid.
Does it have anything to do with sulfur content being more readily available, or?
I don't know if it has something to do with having some sensitivity to the eggs and not digesting them as well. Uh, I don't eat boiled eggs every day, but like two yesterday or 2 days ago, I usually steam them. Uh, so I do a dozen at a time, and everybody eats from them at home. So when I do have eggs, I have 3 or 4 at a time. I don't think it produces more gas for me, but everybody is a little bit different in how they digest the eggs, and maybe there's some sensitivity.
I was gonna say maybe we should ask your wife that question.
Oh,
I was gonna say because I would say they don't cause me gas, but if Jen was sitting here right now, she'd say, yeah, they definitely do. So
okay, I get it.
that or the I think it's the Topo Chico, the hard boiled eggs with Topo Chico. You don't want to mix those two. All right. When do I know whether I should go back to carnivore instead of lion diet?
It depends what you're trying to achieve, and
There's really no reason to go back to carnivore if you're on lion diet. I mean, you should be getting all the nutrients that you need on a lion diet typically. I guess that would really be more of a choice than whether you should.
yeah, depending what you're doing. If you're trying to decrease some sensitivity or immune disease, reversing These things sometimes need to be very strict, Lion. But I mean, if you like to eat chicken or turkey or fish or other foods that are still carnivore and do not cause you any problems, you don't have to confine yourself to just Lion diet. It depends what you're trying to do.
Right.
I try to stick mostly with ruminant meats, and so most days, like I have two picanhas in the refrigerator. I need to cut, um, do a dry brine, and I try to keep them for 5 days, but they don't seem to last 5 days in the open inside the refrigerator.
Right. I got to try cooking some picanha at home. That sounds good. All
Oh,
right,
yeah.
we got to give away another Healing Humanity membership. Hashtag life. Here we go. 30 days, free membership, Healing Humanity Life. We've got courses, we've got experts, we've got Zoom calls. Hey, it's Aunt B.
And B.
Aunt B. Congratulations. How does Aunt B claim her prize, Adam?
Well, Carrie, Aunt B can go to healinghumanity.movie/giveaway and fill out the form, and we will send you your code for a free 1-month membership to Healing Humanity Life. Congratulations.
All right. And just one last reminder, we're going to be in Austin, Texas meetup. You can see there on the bottom of the screen, healinghumanity.movie/events. Thank you so much, everyone, for your questions. Thank you, Adam, Gig, Dr. Nelson, Caleb, your first live stream. Thank you so much, Dante and Katie as well. You guys have anything you want to mention or shout out before we wrap up?
I do. So I just scratched my face and I realized, man, that feels really good. And I remembered that today I used some of that tallow face cream from compassionatecarnivore.store. So if you haven't gone there and checked out those products, Katie and Emma's carnivore products and skin products, man, that stuff it's really, really good stuff. So it's very high quality. I was actually, they're teenagers. I figured, how quality can this stuff be, right? It's really, really good quality stuff. So I recommend everybody to go to compassionatecarnivore.store and get you some of that and feel how good your skin can feel.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks for shouting them out. I got some of it in my hair right now.
Nice.
It's
Wait.
multi-purpose.
I am a user as well.
I'm going to have to try some in my hair too.
Right?
By the way, someone commented on the hair thing. I always have to remind some people that this was a choice 5 years ago. A friend with cancer who shaved his head. I said, I'm gonna do it, but if you look at my picture, the before and after, I had very long hair.
We got to see that picture.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the famous picture with the pants. Look closely.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I was going to
wasn't looking at
say
that part.
I was going to say that Dr. Vasquez, Dante, and myself all go to the same barber.
Same barber, yeah.
Yeah.
He's good. Nice.
I just want to thank you, Carrie, and it was a pleasure. I've always wanted to meet Adam, and it was a pleasure meeting Dr. Vasquez and Caleb, and it was awesome, Carrie. Thank you so much. Enjoyed it thoroughly.
Oh, absolutely. I really appreciate you coming on. Like I said, I hope everyone goes out and follows Adam, Gig, Dr. Nelson, Caleb. Gig's got a really inspiring story, shared it on my channel. We're all about sharing the stories. So if you got an inspiring story, make sure to share it, get the word out. It'll inspire. Your story, Gig, is inspiring so many people. I don't know if you've been reading the comments, but really, really inspiring stuff. So
I have 299 subscribers right now.
nice.
Whoa, all right.
I can only make that 98. I can't make that 300.
Get your friends and family to subscribe too. Let's go. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you guys all on the next one next Thursday. every Thursday, 6 p.m. Central. We'll be doing a live Q&A. So have a good night, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you.
Bye, everyone.
Good night,
Bye.
everyone.